A heartbreaker for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Devin McLaughlin misses a last-second three-point shot that would have tied up the game, sent it to overtime. But it is the St. Mary's Gales advancing to the second round. They will play Alabama. A huge win, working through foul trouble to Mitchell Saxon and Augustus Marshallones. They're, the defensive player of the year and the player of the year in the West Coast Conference. Huge W by a small margin. This game was everything we thought it would be, just as close as we thought it would be. Connor Hope, you had predicted an SMC win. I will take the L on this Vanderbilt loss. What did you see out of St. Mary's? How did they win this game? How did they come back?
So early in this game, and it really was like just the first, 10 to 12 minutes. Augustus Marshallonis had four turnovers in that first half. They were missing a lot of threes. I think they were one of 16 or two of 16 from three in that first half. Um, and Vanderbilt was doing a really good job of taking the ball and going, getting out ahead of St. Mary's defense, avoiding long half court offensive sets, getting the ball to Edwards and letting him cook. Um, and just putting that pressure on. Saxon had the two quick fouls in the first half. So he actually didn't really get to play much of that first half. Uh, and then he played what? He played 14 minutes. But I think a lot of it, like he missed a large portion of it with two fouls. Uh, Mar Marcelonis also had two fouls and the four turnovers in that first half. Um, and then what St. Mary's just did was A, Mitchell Saxon finally realized he was the biggest man on the floor. Um, and then B, they played smart basketball. They didn't turn the ball over. They played ball control. They forced Vanderbilt into half court sets. And Vanderbilt just like they scored 29 first half points. They scored 27 second half points. So it's not like they scored less, but they never got out in transition. They didn't force turnovers defensively. They weren't getting stops on this St. Mary's team. Um, I think it's notable that the best lineup for St. Mary's today was with Marshallonis off the floor. He picked up his fourth foul. They ran Jordan Ross at the one who started cooking. Um, they had Mikey Lewis at the two. Mikey Lewis had a rough game, first NCAA tournament game for the freshmen. They had Luke Barrett, who never comes off the floor at the three, and then they had the Twin Towers, Mitchell Saxon, Harry Wessels at the four and the five. And what it did was it prevented Vanderbilt from getting into the paint. You have your two best athletes, if you're St. Mary's, at the one and the two guard position. And then Luke Barrett, who is just a Swiss Army knife. He had 12 points, 10 rebounds, two assists. Um, he was one of like three players really, who almost had a double-double in points and assists. Mitchell Saxon also had a points and rebounds, sorry, double-double with 12 and 11. Marshallonis had two assists and five turnovers, but he had eight boards at the point guard spot in limited minutes with his foul trouble. But I just think it was a matter of St. Mary's for 25 to 30 minutes in this game played at the pace that they wanted to play at, and Vanderbilt couldn't speed them up. Outside of the first 10 to 15 minutes, Vanderbilt just couldn't speed St. Mary's up, couldn't force them to make mistakes. St. Mary's had six turnovers in the first half. They had three in the second half. They shot much better in that second half. I think it was either five or six of nine from three in that second half for St. Mary's. It was five of nine from three in the second half for St. Mary's. Um, 24 rebounds. They only had two offensive boards in the first half. They had nine, or they had one offensive board in the first half. They had nine in the second half. They were getting second chance opportunities. They had four blocks in that second half. Two of them came from Jordan Ross. Uh, it was a complete flipping of the switch and saying, we're not going to let you do that to us anymore.
Yeah, and then you look at the other side as far as Vanderbilt goes, and you look at Chris Magnon's he only had two steals. It felt like watching this game that he had seven or eight, uh, just because he was able to get his paws on the ball so much. But his deflections leading to the ball going out of bounds, and instead of into Vanderbilt's possession. I mean, I'm not blaming that for him. Incredible hustle defensively, and all that, but those opportunities for turnovers that weren't is something that you could say cost Vanderbilt this game. Or Edwards and Hogard were both inefficient in different ways. Edwards was great getting to the rack, but only 2 for 9 from three. AJ Hogard, on the other hand, was just 1 for 8 from the field. When you have Hogard on the floor, obviously he's a veteran. He's doing a lot of the shot calling out there, but you want him more as a pass first point guard. He's not great as a shooter. He can turn a corner, but you don't want him driving into the Twin Towers. It just felt like there were some ill-advised shot opportunities trying to get a foul call that Hogard made, and he just wasn't really getting the calls that he wanted all game. I mean, obviously there were a few that he did get, and he was able to help put Saxon in foul trouble, Marciulionis in foul trouble, all that good stuff. Just it felt like that there were missed opportunities to kick it out to a guy like Magnon or a guy like Tyler Tanner. Um, and then also just Grant Huffman. I don't know why he got 20 minutes. Obviously he's another good sort of pass first guard kind of guy, but just didn't really feel like he got much done today. And not that he was a net negative or anything. It just felt like he was more of a non-factor outside of I think one bucket that he had. Uh, and when you're able as St. Mary's to neutralize guys that Vanderbilt goes to, and they don't have that secondary game plan, especially when you're shutting them down in the second half and they don't have that break to flip the script, because what they were doing was working in the first half and it wasn't in the second half. But they don't have that 20 minutes to go over it, and you find this lineup that works with Jordan Ross and Mikey Lewis and the Twin Towers all playing at the same time. You're able to manufacture that comeback and make it happen, and that's what worked for Randy Bennett. That's what makes him such a good coach. And now you have a Bama team coming up that looks a little bit vulnerable. Obviously, this isn't the preview for that game. We'll have that up on the channel. Should be right now, so go watch that one after this. But this is a St. Mary's team that I think has got some momentum, and I think that if they can slow down Bama in the same way that they slowed down Vanderbilt, I think that they will truly have a great shot at getting to the second weekend of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the first half for Vanderbilt, just to cap this off, they had 18 points in the paint. They had 10 points off of turnovers. 8 of those came on fast break opportunities. In the second half, they had 8 points in the paint, 3 points off turnovers, and like the one fast break chance, right? Like it was they had more offensive rebounds, I think, because they were missing more shots, but they just did not have the same opportunities to get out ahead of the St. Mary's defense. And then when you play Wessels and Saxon together, and they just shut off the paint. And this Vanderbilt team, as we discussed, is not a great 3-point shooting team. Um, they shot okay in the second half from three. They shot 38%. But they were 4 of 13 from 2-point range in that second half. St. Mary's defense just swallowed them alive every time they entered. Um, didn't force turnovers, just forced tough shots. And I think that is the ultimate difference in this game was that um, outside of like really outside of transition opportunities, Vanderbilt couldn't get a lot going offensively.
Yeah, couldn't get a lot going, but it shouldn't take away from how successful of a season this was for the Doors. Vanderbilt fans, you've got a great head coach in Mark Byington. You're in a great league. You're going to have every opportunity with the investment into this program. I think there will be big things ahead next year. St. Mary's, you've got another game this weekend. Preview will be up on the channel against Alabama. Should be up right now, so make sure you subscribe. Don't miss a second of it. In Vanderbilt, it's the tournament. Keep watching.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.